296. The sky that turns green, supercell storms. Sometimes, before a tornado, the sky turns green. Not always, but when it does, something massive waits behind the clouds. It's not a color you forget. Nature, tinted with warning. 297. The ocean that glows. Dinoflagellate bioluminescence. Swim through warm water at night, and it glows around you. Tiny organisms, sparked by motion, a stroke of your hand, a trail of light. You move, and the sea responds. Stars beneath the surface. 298. The wind that roars in silence, solar wind. There's wind in space, not air, but charged particles streaming from the sun. We can't hear it, but it stirs auroras, pushes satellites, shapes planets, a storm without sound. 299. The insect that builds domes, termite mounds. In harsh savannas, termites build skyscrapers with no eyes, no leaders, but perfect ventilation, humidity control, temperature balance, architecture born of instinct, engineers who never went to school. 300. The animal that glows inside, firefly biochemistry. The glow comes from luciferin, activated by enzymes, a clean, cold light. No heat, no flame, just a signal, passed from one firefly to the next. Here I am. 301. The mirror that warps time, gravitational lensing. A galaxy bends space, and with it, light. Behind it, another galaxy appears, but not where it is, where it was bent. A cosmic illusion, written in gravity, the universe tricking the eye with mass. Mirrors aren't always made of glass. 302. The rain that never falls, Virga. From high clouds, droplets form. They fall, then vanish in dry air before reaching the ground. Rain that begins but never arrives. The sky rehearsing sorrow, then swallowing it. 303. The leaf that sweats, transpiration. When heat rises, plants sweat, not with pores, but through their leaves, tiny openings. Water turned to vapor, a forest cooling itself with breath. You walk through shade, and it exhales. 304. The crystal that remembers pressure, quartz piezoelectricity. Squeeze it, and it sparks. Quartz under pressure releases charge. Push, pulse, response. A stone that translates force into energy. Still, silent, sensible, nature wired itself before we ever did. 305. The eye that sees the invisible, infrared vision in snakes. Some snakes. 306. The animal that paints without sight. Bowerbird design. It gathers blue, only blue. Bottle caps, feathers, petals, arranged meticulously to impress a mate. An artist. Without language, without reason, but with vision that creates from instinct. Beauty doesn't need explanation. 307. The wind that spins backward. Cyclones of Venus. Venus spins slow, but its atmosphere moves fast and backwards. Hurricane bands race opposite the planet's spin, winds that refuse to follow their world, resistance on a planetary scale. 308. The fish that sees two worlds, four-eyed anableps. Its eyes are split, half above water, half below. Two horizons at once, two versions of the same place. To live at the boundary is to never blink fully. 309. The dust that seeds rain, aerosols and clouds. Raindrops need a nucleus, something small to gather around. Often, dust, volcanic ash, salt, pollen. particles that drift unseen until the sky wraps them in water. Even storms need a center. 310. The flower that explodes. Himalayan balsam seed dispersal. When touched, its pod bursts, seeds flung meters away. With a pop, a whisper of violence. It does not wait for wind. It launches its future with precision. 311. The ocean that remembers the moon. Tides. The moon doesn't just light the night. It pulls the sea. Every 6 hours, water rises and falls, called by gravity, held by rhythm. Even from 384,000 kilometers away, the moon speaks and the ocean listens. 312. The plant that sees light. Phototropism. Plants don't have eyes, but they know where the sun is. Cells stretch toward light. Leaves bend slowly. Stems curve in longing. Every sunrise a signal. Every leaf a reaching. Vision without sight. 313. The creature that dissolves. Sea butterfly shell melting. Tiny winged mollusks drift through Arctic waters. Their shells are delicate, but ocean acidification is rising. Bit by bit, the shell dissolves. The creature remains, bare, floating, still moving. Not everything breaks at once. 314. The rock that floats. Pumice. Formed from lava, pumice traps bubbles. Solid stone, but so full of air, it drifts. Mountains that rise from fire and then learn to float. Even the heavy can be made light. 315. The rain that builds mountains. Erosion feedback. Rain wears rock, but also exposes fresh surface, new minerals, new chemical reactions, which pull carbon from the air, cool the planet, and slow. 316. The bird that uses tools. New Caledonian crow. It bends twigs, cuts leaves into hooks, uses sticks to fish out insects. This bird does what we once believed only humans could. Not imitation, innovation. A quiet intelligence in black feathers. 317. The ice that rings. Frozen lake acoustics. Step on thin lake ice. Tap it gently, it sings. A strange high-pitched ping that ripples across the surface like a laser beam. Frozen water turned to sound. 318. The cave that breathes. Barometric breathing. Some caves inhale, others exhale. Not magic, pressure. As outside air changes, the cave adjusts. Wind rushes through, in or out. The earth taking measured breaths. 319. The creature that steals genes. Sea slugs and algal DNA. Some sea slugs eat algae and steal their photosynthetic ability. They keep the genes, use the chloroplasts. They digest light, a stolen future, still functional. 320. The light that splits twice. Quantum superposition. A single photon goes through a slit, or two, or neither, until you observe it and it chooses. Light is not one thing until you look. Observation shapes reality. 321. The forest that hides itself. Canopy shadow. From above, it's green, continuous, but beneath, darkness, silence, a layered world of stillness and decay. The canopy hides everything under it, not to deceive, but to protect. Some ecosystems thrive by staying unseen. 322. The worm that rebuilds its brain. Planarian regeneration. Cut it, it grows back. Cut it again, it still remembers. Even its brain regenerates, and sometimes its memory with it. a body that recalls its own pattern, a mind made from instruction, not permanence. 323. The snow that sings, avalanche thunder. In cold mountains, when snow collapses, it doesn't just fall, it roars. The air compresses and resonates. You don't just see an avalanche, you feel its song. Mass and motion turned into sound. 324. The spider that engineers air. Diving bell spider. It lives underwater but breathes air. So it builds a bubble, tethers it with silk, refreshes it like a scuba tank. A home beneath water crafted from the sky. 325. 291. The light that sleeps in sand. Glass formation. When lightning strikes a desert, it fuses grains into glass, not with hammers or heat from below, but a single sudden pulse from above. A scar of light becomes a frozen thread. Sand remembers thunder. 292. The tree that waits decades. Bamboo bloom. Some bamboos bloom only once, every 60, 80, 100 years, and when they do, they die. But first, they flower all at once, across forests, across continents, a synchronized final breath, a sacrifice in rhythm. 293. The river that disappears, cast sink streams. In limestone country, water does something strange. It flows, then vanishes, pulled underground through hidden channels, carving silence beneath the hills, not lost, just unseen. Some rivers live secret lives. 294. The plant that counts steps, Venus flytrap memory. It doesn't just react, it remembers. Touch it once, nothing. Touch it again within seconds, and it snaps. Not instinct, a built-in timer. 2 taps equals dinner. Even without a brain, it knows when it's time to act. 295. The island that builds itself. Coral atoll formation. Corals grow in rings, tiny animals, year after year, until land emerges from sea. An island formed not by eruption, but by patience. Living stone from living mouths. 101. The coral that keeps time. Reef rhythms and lunar clocks. Coral does not wear a watch, but it knows when the moon is full. Each month as light swells, it releases life, in sync, in stillness, in certainty. Timing is not always measured, sometimes it is remembered. 102. The smoke that shapes sky. Volcanic ash and global cooling. When fire reaches sky, it leaves a shadow. Volcanic ash dims the sun, cools the earth. A planet shivers because a mountain spoke. Your anger too leaves echoes. But sometimes cooling is needed. 103. The heart of ice. Glaciers that flow like rivers. They seem frozen, still, dead. But glaciers move. They carry time in creaks and drips. Every inch they shift reshapes the world. Stillness is not the absence of motion. It's the presence of slow intention. 104. The whale's spiral. bubble net feeding and collective design. Whales trap fish using air. They swim in circles, releasing bubbles, a trap built from breath. Design without blueprint, hunger made graceful. What patterns are you spinning unseen? 105. The metal that remembers. Shape memory alloys. Some metals forget, but some remember their form, bend them, twist them, they return to what they were. Memory written in atoms, so ask yourself, what shape is yours? 106. The sky that sings, auroras and solar wind. The sun whispers to the earth. Its voice, particles. Its echo, light. Auroras dance when the sky listens. Your joy might be the same, unseen until it collides with the right silence. 107. The sand that remembers wind. Dune. Patterns and movement. Wind is invisible, but dunes remember. Their curves are records, maps of motion. So is your spine, so is your voice. You carry the weather that shaped you. 108. The flower that feeds on flesh, nature's reversal. The predator isn't always the lion. Sometimes it's rooted. Pitcher plants, Venus flytraps, green hunger. Life adapts not by strength, but by inversion. You too can rewrite the rules. 109. The river below the river. Subglacial lakes and hidden currents. Beneath miles of Antarctic ice, a lake flows. Hidden, warm, ancient. No sun, no sky, still it moves. You don't need the surface to be alive, just depth. 110. The moon's locked gaze, tidal locking and intimacy in orbit. The moon shows us one face, always, because it spins just right. This is not stillness, it's sync. Sometimes love looks like orbit, sometimes presence is a kind of gravity. 111. The crystal that hears. Piezoelectricity and pressure songs. Quartz hums when pressed, not metaphorically, musically. Pressure becomes voltage, force becomes sound. Your tension holds a frequency. Listen closely. You might be singing. 112. The spider that builds without sight. Web geometry in darkness. Spiders don't see their webs. They feel them. They count with legs, trace with memory, design through touch. You don't need vision to build, just presence, just tension, just trust. 113. The cell that commits, apoptosis and graceful endings. Some cells choose to die, not from harm, from purpose. They step aside to let life continue. Apoptosis, the biology of letting go. What if endings are not failure, but choreography? 114. The desert that blooms, dormancy and sudden color, years of nothing, then one rain, and the desert erupts in petals. Color from sleep. You are allowed to bloom late. You are allowed to surprise even yourself. 115. The ocean that glows, milky seas and luminous bacteria. Sometimes the sea lights up for miles, white, ghostly, endless, not moonlight, microbes, bacteria in unison. Even the smallest things can shine the widest, especially together. 116. The bone that repairs, density and response. Bone is not static. It listens to pressure, to gravity, to movement. It breaks, then strengthens. You are not fragile. You are feedback. 117. The forest that talks, tree roots and fungal networks. Underground, trees whisper. Through roots, through fungi. Warnings, nourishment, memory, community that touches without sound. The deepest bonds are not always seen, but they sustain. 118. The light that delays, gravitational time dilation. In gravity's arms, time slows. A second stretched, a clock that lags near stars. The stronger the pull, the deeper the drag. You are not late, you are just close to something heavy. 119. The river that rewrites itself, meanders and shifting paths. Rivers do not flow straight. They bend, loop, break, return. Each curve is correction, each detour design. You are not lost. You are meandering, like all living things. 120. The flame that thinks, fire ecology and intelligent destruction. Fire destroys, but also renews. Seeds crack open in heat. Forests regrow from ash. Destruction isn't the end. It's an invitation to begin again, brighter. 121. The eye that sees heat, infrared and hidden light. Not all sight sees color. Some sees warmth. Infrared reveals what glows beneath the surface. Blood, breath, embers. What if feeling is another kind of vision? 122. The butterfly's path, chaos theory in flight. They flutter without pattern, but small choices ripple. One shift here, a storm there. It's not disorder, it's sensitivity, and your smallest acts matter. 123. The feather that floats, air resistance and drift. A feather falls slowly, not because it's weak, because it listens to air. It rides resistance like a dance. There is wisdom in yielding. There is grace in drift. 124. The dawn inside you, circadian rhythms and internal light. You have a clock, not on your wrist, in your cells, tuned to sun and shadow, each hormone, each breath, carried by rhythm. You don't find balance, you return to it. 125. The shadow that speaks, eclipses and celestial alignment. When shadow passes over sun, the world pauses. An eclipse, not darkness, but alignment. You are not being blocked. You are being realigned. 260. The metal that remembers, nitinol and shape memory. Bend it, twist it, heat it, and it snaps back into form. Nitinol is not just a metal, it is memory made solid. It doesn't resist change, it absorbs it, then remembers itself. Not stubbornness, resilience. 261. The tree that communicates, the wood wide web. Beneath the forest floor, roots touch. Fungi thread between them, carbon, signals, warnings. One tree falls ill, another sends aid. The forest is not a collection of trees, it is a conversation. Spoken not in words, but in sugars and mycelium. 262. The sound that travels through bone conduction. You don't always need ears to hear. When vibrations hit bone, your skull becomes an echo chamber. Some people hear music through their jaw, voices through their teeth. Even in silence, you are listening. 263. The lake that turns over, thermal inversion. In summer, warm water floats, cold sinks. In fall, temperatures shift and the lake flips. Nutrients rise, oxygen sinks, the water stirs itself awake. Even stillness holds revolutions. 264. The creature that builds with bubbles, caddisfly larvae. Tiny, soft-bodied. But what do? They build. From gravel, from sand, from silk. Underwater homes, wrapped in bubbles. Architecture from instinct. They are artists before they become wings. 265. The light that keeps time. Atomic clocks. Atoms vibrate, lasers catch the rhythm. No pendulums, no gears, only perfect pulse. Atomic clocks lose 1 second every million years. Time itself, listening to particles. 266. The blood that flows blue. Hemocyanin. In some animals, octopuses, spiders, blood is not red, it is blue. Because copper, not iron, carries oxygen. Different chemistry, same purpose. Life writes its laws in color. 267. The river that paints the desert. Alluvial fans. When floodwaters exit mountains, they spread, drop their sediment, draw patterns. Fans of minerals on sand. Geological brushstrokes. Art made by gravity. 268. The star that collapses into silence. Black holes. A star too heavy. It dies, but instead of exploding, it folds in, shrinks, becomes dense beyond measure, and then vanishes. No light, no time, just gravity. A silence so deep, it pulls reality with it. 269. The tree that drinks air. Epiphytes. They grow on branches, not rooted in soil. They gather mist, trap dew, sip sunlight. Air becomes drink, sky becomes ground, living without touching earth. 270. The seed that sleeps centuries. Resurrection of life. In Arctic tundra, seeds lie frozen. In deserts, buried under dust. Then warmth, water, a crack, a shoot. Some seeds wait hundreds of years. Patience is a survival strategy. 271. The ocean that makes music. Wave resonance in basalt caves. On some shores, there are caves that hum. Waves enter, echo, bounce, and the stone sings, not in melody, but in rhythm, deep, hollow notes that vibrate in the ribs. You don't hear it with your ears, you feel it, a memory of movement carved into basalt. Not all music is played, some of it is shaped. 272. The eye that sees twice, mantis shrimp vision. Where we see color, the mantis shrimp sees symphonies. It has 16 photoreceptors. We have 3. Ultraviolet, polarized light. To it, that's just vision. A language of light we cannot read. A world of hues we cannot name. You think you know what the ocean looks like. You've never seen it like they do. 273. The plant that feeds on air, tillandsia and vapor life. No roots in soil, no reach into ground. Air plants drink fog, breathe mist. They live on wind and patience. Their beauty is not in their bloom, but in their refusal to cling. To thrive without anchoring, is that weakness or freedom? 274. The glacier that flows, ice as liquid stone. A glacier moves, not like a river, not like a storm, but slowly, constantly. It flows like a sleeping giant thinking, carving mountains, making lakes, inches at a time. We call it ice, but it behaves like thought, invisible at first, and then suddenly everything has changed. 275. The shadow that moves without you, Earth's umbra in space. Lunar eclipses show something strange. A shadow falls on the moon, and it's ours, projected thousands of kilometers into space. A perfect curve, slow and quiet. Earth's signature on the sky. You cast a shadow that reaches the moon, even without standing up. 276. The creature that breathes through its skin, amphibian osmosis. Frogs, salamanders, they breathe not just with lungs but through their skin, moist, porous, alive with exchange, oxygen in, carbon out. They are part of the air, and the air is part of them. Breathing is not always visible, but it is always intimate. 277. The mountain that grows, tectonic lift. Mount Everest is not static. It rises every year, by millimeters, but it rises. The pressure beneath it still pushes upward, like the world is trying to reach the sky, one breath at a time. We think mountains are unmoving, but even stillness strives. 278. The whale that remembers songs, humpback memory. Humpback whales sing, not just calls, songs, and every year the song changes slightly, and every whale remembers. The new melody builds on the old, culture passed not in words, but in echoes. Their ocean is not silent. It's a choir of memory. 279. The fog that eats sound, acoustic absorption. In dense fog, everything feels closer, and yet quieter. It isn't silence, it's softness. The fog takes the edge off noise, so footsteps don't echo, voices don't carry. Not all silence is absence, some is shelter. 280. The star that wobbles, planetary tug. A planet orbits a star, but it also pulls on it. Just a little, just enough. From millions of miles away, its gravity tugs, and the star dances. We find new planets, not by seeing them, but by watching their stars and waiting for the sway. Even light has a heartbeat. 281. The insect that spins glass, leafcutter ants and silica trails. Beneath the soil, leafcutter ants leave trails laced with tiny crystals, not by design, but by erosion, pressure, and time. Their tunnels glint faintly, microscopic sand polished into something close to glass. Unseen, unmeasured, a network of light built from nothing but chewing. The forest rests on fragile brilliance. 282. The rain that smells, petrichor. After long dryness, the first drop falls, and before it touches you, you smell it. Not water, but oils, spores, memories rising from stone. The scent is called petrichor. It is the earth exhaling. Not every rain nourishes. Some simply reminds you that the world is alive. 283. The ice that burns blue. Methane clathrates. Under deep oceans, pressure traps gas in ice, methane locked in crystal cages, stable, cold, until it warms. Then it releases fire, blue flames from frozen tombs, the sea forgetting its silence. Ice doesn't always mean stillness. Sometimes it hides explosions. 284. The flower that follows the sun, heliotropism. Morning, a flower tilts, not just open, but turned, following the sun's arc across the sky, as if it listens to light. By dusk, it has moved completely, not by will, but by longing. Even petals know where warmth lives. 285. The animal that doesn't die, hydra and cellular regeneration. The hydra is tiny, simple, and possibly immortal. It doesn't age, doesn't decay. Its cells renew endlessly. Cut it, it grows back. Wait, it stays the same. Time forgets it. Death has no map to find it. 286. The storm that spans centuries. Jupiter's great red spot. On Jupiter, a storm has raged for over 300 years. Twice the size of Earth, winds faster than sound. It's not just weather, it's a permanent scar in cloud. We call it the red spot. But it's more like a whisper from a planet that never rests. 287. The forest that eats itself, decay and nutrient cycling. A tree falls, becomes soil. Another tree rises in its place. Moss grows on rot, beetles feed on bark, and slowly the eater becomes the eaten, then the grown again. Forests are not graveyards, they are circulations. 288. The light that circles itself, photons in fiber loops. Bend a fiber optic cable into a ring, shine light through it, and the photons loop again and again, trapped in endless revolution. They do not tire, they do not drift. Some light chooses orbit over exit. 289. The sound that finds its way, wave diffraction. You round a corner and hear music, though no speaker is in sight. That is diffraction. Sound curling around edges, whispering through gaps. You can hide from sight, but sound follows your outline. 290. The mineral that grows like a tree, stalactite formation. In caves, water drips, minerals harden. Drop by drop, stone grows downward or upward. Stalactites, stalagmites, time as sculpture, calcium as memory. What we call lifeless knows how to grow slowly.